Sorry, I accidentally closed it out. Spray some WD-40 in the ignition lock cylinder to help lubricate it. And I had a straw on that bottle, that can, and I dropped it on the floor and I can't find it. So, but spray some WD-40 in there while you got this all apart. That way you can wipe it off and you don't get it all over everything. So spray WD-40 in the ignition lock cylinder before you put it all back together. Okay, now, here's the console. So now we got to take the console apart to, let's see, I want to position this thing where you guys can see what I'm doing. All right. Okay, I think we're good there. All right, so now this console, it's kind of tricky too, like the rest of it is, okay? So, hold on, let me get a drink. I'm kind of thirsty from doing all this talking. All right, now, the first thing you got to do to take this console apart is, once you get, there's two panels. There's this panel here, and this panel here goes all the way up. This whole thing around here goes all the way up, okay? That's all one panel. All this in here is going to come off. But your switches, it used to be you had to pull these switches off to get a panel out, but now they've made it to where there's just a hole around each switch, and you just pull the panel off. The radio, of course, stays in it. The whole radio stays in there. And you've got up here, you get where you guys can see what I'm talking about. Up here, all this is electronic stuff. That's your, oh, I don't know what any of this stuff is. I'll have to read the owner's manual for that. I don't know. There's a check mark and a car with the letter I next to it, and then a picture of a road with mountains. I don't know. I'll have to figure out what those are. That's your airbag warning light. That'll probably come out with it. And then you got switches over here for your fog lights and your rear wiper and washer. All these will probably come out with this panel when you pull it out, so you'll have to reach back behind there and unplug them. So remember, when you pull this panel out, don't just rip it out of there, because you don't want to damage those wires, okay? So you want to be careful with that. All right, now let's go back down here where we were, so we can see what we're doing down here. Okay, so the first thing, if I can get this thing to stay. Oh, come on. I'm trying to get it. There we go. Okay. First thing you want to do is you got to get this, when you get this panel off, obviously it comes up, and this where the gear shift goes, it's got to come up over the top of the gear shift knob. So how do you get the gear shift knob off? Well, here's what you do. And I kind of did this ahead of time to figure it out so I wouldn't look stupid in front of you guys, all right? So you take a knife and you stick it in here, and you pry down very carefully on that chrome piece. You can use a screwdriver too if you want to. And see that? That slides down just like that. All right, and then you take I gotta find it. Where's it at? Hold on a second here. I shut the door so the light wouldn't be shining in you guys' eyes. Okay, you take a T10 Torx screwdriver, just like the one I used on the ignition switch, remember over there? So this is a T10, that was a T15. Okay, so you take it and you put it right in there. See that? Let me zoom you in here a little bit. Get you in here so you can see what I'm doing. All right, there you go. So you put that right in there, and you unscrew this little set screw. You want to get it out, you got to screw it out quite a ways. I mean, you could really, if you wanted, you could take it all the way out. Let's see how long it is. I don't know. There you go. So see, that's what it looks like. It's got a little piece on the end of it that locks it to the shaft for the shifter. Okay, but you don't have to pull it all the way out. You only have to just unscrew it enough to get the shifter off. So let's not lose it. Let's put it back where it was. Screw it back in there. And see that comes right off. Super easy. No problem. So now we got the shift knob out of our way, okay? All right, next thing, we got to move down. Let's zoom back out so you can see what I'm doing. All right. All right, we got to get this top panel off. But in order to get this top panel off, we need to take this end panel off, okay? So you just grab it on either side and you pull. See how it pops loose? Grab it over here, do the same thing. It's kind of hard to get it come loose. There it goes. All right, and that pulls out. And again, it's got 4 clips that hold it in. This thing here came out really easily. Okay, so we got that out of the way. And now we can get underneath of this thing and pull up on it. It's got the same type of clips on it. So we're going to pull up on it. Oh, and I forgot, we also got our window switches here. So we're probably going to have to unplug those to get the console out, okay? So let's pull up on that. And then we'll see what all comes out with this thing. You got to pull up on it, and then pull it towards the back of the car, okay? Once you get the bottom loose, you pull it towards the back of the car. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put this thing, uh-oh. Oh, shoot. I got to hook the battery back up because I got to get this thing in neutral. I forgot about that. All right, hold on a second. Oh, another thing, you want to have your emergency brake pulled up. Let me go hook my battery up just long enough to get this thing in neutral. I forgot about that. See, I don't remember everything. All right. So we're going to put this back down there. All right, let me and I got to have the key on too. I don't think turning the key on is going to be enough. I think I'm going to have the battery hooked up. Yeah. I'm sure there's a way to do it, but let me hook the battery up real quick. Hold on. I just got one cable disconnected. All right, we got the key on. Now we're going to put it in neutral. There we go. And now we can turn the key back off. I don't think I can pull. Oh, yeah, I can. Okay. All right, so I got it in neutral. I'm going to disconnect the battery again because I don't want to connect it because, again, I'm going to be unplugging stuff here. Okay, now I can pull this back off, and I should be able to pull this out. Yeah. Okay, I lied to you guys. These switches here did come out with it. So let's see. Of course, the radio stayed in, and the switches up above, like I said, up here, they all came out with it. So let's see what wiring we got to unplug. Okay, so we've got 3 harnesses. We got a harness for the heater controls. We got a harness. Let me scoot this thing up. Come on. All right, sorry. Trying to get my phone here so you guys can see what I'm doing. Dadgummit, my steering wheel's in the way now. All right, so we got a harness connected to this. We got a harness connected to the heater control, and we got a harness down here connected to the windows. Okay, so I'm not sure which one I need to unplug first. Let's start with the top one since it's at the top. All right, I'm gonna try to reach back there, and tell you what, let me go around the passenger side and we'll get it. Let me move this phone thing so you can see what I'm doing before I get over there. Whoops. Hold on a second, guys. All right, let me go to the passenger side and we'll get this loose. Okay. Get this stuff out of my way that's over here so I can sit down. Isn't this fun? I guess if you like this kind of work, it is. I don't mind it. I know this video is kind of long, but like I said, I never saw any videos like this on YouTube, so, and I can understand why. This is a pain. Okay, so I'm going to look back here, and I've got, all right, so up at the top here, I got like 4 wires that need to be disconnected, but you know what? I'm not going to disconnect those. I'm going to leave them connected for now, okay? I'm going to disconnect the heater controls, and then down here at the windows, I'm going to disconnect those, and I'll show you why here in a minute. Heater controls, there's 2 of them. There's actually 4 places on the back of this heater control for a plug. There's one here, one here, one here, and one here, but only the 2 middle ones on this car have got plugs in them. So you gotta look and remember where plugs go when you put them back. And the trick I can tell you about that, if you think you can't remember, turn this thing out where you can get a good look at it. Take your phone and take a picture of it, and then you'll know where they go back. Okay. All right, but I don't need to do that because there's only 2, and I'll show you here in a minute what they look like. Come on. Got those loose. Now the oops, wrong one. All right, now we're going to take off. We're going to take off the window switches. And again, it's got 2 plugs. Okay, now I got those loose. All right, let me put this backward so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Let me turn this. There we go. That's what I wanted to do. Okay. And then we'll lock. Sorry. Just trying to get you guys positioned here where you can see what I'm doing. Dang it. Why won't that stay? Oh, there we go. Okay. Because I was going the wrong way with it, dum-dum. Okay, now, I got this thing loose, and I'm going to pull it up off the shifter. Oh, you know what? I got another plug here. Boy, let's see where that's at. Wow. Okay. Oh, it's the plug for the traction control is what it is. And it goes on the bottom side of the shifter. Okay. Well, so I lied to you. Again, I'm doing this for the first time, just like you guys are watching. So I wasn't going to unplug these, but this one's, there's a plug. Oh my gosh, hold on. There's a plug that's, trying to get my phone here so you can see what I'm doing. All right. There's a plug that's underneath of this button here. There's a small little plug. And I didn't even see it till I pulled the shifter, this assembly up. So I can't hardly get to it, so I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the heater controls so I can get to that one down there, okay? So let me unplug them, and there's 4 of them. So they're kind of a trick to get to. Well, here, let's do this because I'm not going to remember. So let me take my phone here and show you guys so you can see this. All right. So there's a black plug there, brown plug, which that one's going to be easy to remember because it's different. A white plug, and then another black plug over there, but it's a different size than this one. So they shouldn't. And a lot of times when you got multiple plugs like this, they won't interchange. So you should be fine with it, okay? And then here's the, if I can show you. Yeah, there you go. There's the heater control. But again, I didn't use this plug. And look, oh, look, it says brown, blue, gray, and green. So there's, it's actually color coded. That's kind of cool. But here's that plug I was telling you about for that traction control. It's way up in there and I can't get to it. So I'm going to unplug these four instead. So now that I'm on over here on the passenger side, I'll just put you guys over here as well. I'm going to get my phone set up over here so you can see what I'm doing. All right. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so let's get these four plugs out here. So there's a black one, and it's got a little clip. You push up on that clip, okay? Push up on it, and then pull. Black, white, another black, and brown. All right, we got those out of the way. We're just going to lay them up on top of the radio. Okay, now I want to try to get this. I don't know if I can get this traction control plug out, unplug or not, but I'm going to turn this thing around. There we go. Okay, now I can kind of show it to you guys. And where's my knife? Because I'm going to need that. All right, now if you guys look, let me zoom in so you can see what I'm looking at. There you go. Right there. That's the plug that I couldn't reach, okay? And it's buried under. It's a little tiny plug, so it's kind of fragile. But here's what I can do. I can see something here. So this thing has got the switch has got these little tabs. See that tab right there? So I can pull that tab and I can pull up on this and get it to come loose. And then I can do this tab, I think. No, maybe not. Maybe the other side then. Let me try the other side. Oh, you can't see what I'm doing. Hold on. There we go. Okay, so I'm kind of pulling on the wire to give it some tension. Pop that tab. There, did you see that move? See that moving? See that? It's moving. So pop that tab. It comes out. And you got two tabs on the end here. And hopefully, there we go. See that? That whole switch just popped out of there. To get that unplugged, it's got this tab right here, but it's on the top side. I can't reach it. It's underneath it. So I just pulled the whole switch out, okay? So there you go. That's good to know how to do that. So I just pulled the whole switch out. Just take your knife and you pry up on the two back tabs and pull it like that. And then you carefully pry up on the two front tabs and it pops out of there. Okay, so now that's out of the way. All right, let's zoom back out. And now, here's the center console piece, okay? All out of there. So we have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wire harnesses to plug into that. That's a lot of wire harnesses. All right, now I gotta find, I've got one more part left. And let's see where it's at. And it's the one that I said I thought it was. So the only part that I have left is this. So this is your neutral safety switch, okay? So this switch, when it's in neutral, it tells that one there, you can see, it tells that one to release the key, but it also tells the computer system what gear the car is in. So if this switch is bad, if it isn't doing its job, then it's going to cause problems. Now, I'm not sure where this is at. I got to find it. Because, again, I haven't done this before. I'm doing this with you guys. That's one reason why this video is taking so long. Okay, so I got to figure out where it's at. Oh, by the way, see all these wires right here? There's a box right here. See this box? It's kind of hard to see here. I'll get you guys down in here a little closer so you can see. Hold on. All right, there we go. There we go. Now, see this box right here? This is what's called your body control module, okay? So it controls your stereo, your windows, your locks, your seats, your windshield wipers, things like that, okay? Maybe your lights, I don't know. But it controls all that stuff, okay? And it's even color-coded too. That's pretty cool. But if you ever replace this, what I'd recommend is you take a picture with your phone before you unplug all those. And then you know where to put them back. But I mean, they're color-coded, so it's not that difficult. But you know, if you're worried about it, take a picture. That way you know. And again, if I replace this part and those two parts today and it doesn't fix my problem, then this is the next part I got to replace. And I think this is like $300 or $400. And then I got to take it to GM and pay them $150 to program it. And then the body control module, the powertrain control modules under the hood, I'll show that to you here in a little bit. And it would be the last thing I'm replacing. It's like $700. So I hope I don't have to replace either one of them. But hopefully this is the problem. But we'll see. Anyhow, all right, now I got to figure out where the neutral safety switch is, and I have no idea. Well, I think I see something. Yeah. Boy, oh boy. Okay, I don't know if you guys can see this or not. I'll try to show it to you. Ugh, this is going to be tricky too. The neutral safety switch is right there. Okay, so if you look, see that metal piece right there, that piece of metal? It looks, see that? See how familiar that is? That piece there is that piece there. And this plug right there where that white thing is, right there, that's where it plugs in. So this thing goes in there like that, and I'm not sure how to get it out of there. I got to figure that out because, like I said, I haven't done this before. So I don't know if I want to take the rest of the console apart or I want to take the shifter out. I don't know which. I got to either take this out or I got to take the shifter off the floor. And I'm not sure which one's easier. But let's look and see. Okay. So what I can see here, just looking at it, and you guys probably, well, you can kind of see it. So see right down here, there's a bolt right here. All right, and there's another bolt here, and there's two more. There's one right there and one right there. There's 4 bolts to hold the shifter on. And I think if I take those 4 bolts out, I can lift this whole shifter up. I hope I can. And hopefully it'll give me enough room. It's got a cable here that's connected to the transmission. So hopefully if I lift this shifter up, take those 4 bolts out and lift the shifter up, it'll allow me to get in there and get that neutral safety switch out. I think that's what I'm going to try first, is take the shifter out. I don't know. I'm just looking at this center console. And I'm not sure what it would need to get it out. It's got a screw here and another screw there. And see this cover I just popped off? In case you guys own one of these, the fuses are behind it. But this cover goes all the way to the firewall. So it's a big, huge cover that goes here. And it goes on this side too to the firewall. So I don't know how many screws it's going to take to get it out. I see 4 screws right here on the shifter. So I'm going to pause the video for a minute. I'm going to have to go get a different tool and we'll pull the shifter out and see if we can get that neutral safety switch out of it. So I'll be right back. All right, guys, I'm back. I got a 13mm socket and a long extension, and it fits these 4 bolts on this console, on this shifter. So let's get them loose. But I just thought of something, and I really probably ought to try this before I go much further with this thing. What I should have done before I started on this is I should have tried to start the car and make sure it's still going to start after I replaced the stuff on the ignition switch assembly. On the column, I should say. So let me hook the battery back up, and I'm going to try to start this thing. I got all this wiring disconnected here, but it's not really anything that's going to affect the way the car runs, so it'll be okay with it disconnected. I don't have any computer systems disconnected, but I'm going to hook the battery up, and I want to make sure this thing starts, because if there's a problem, I want to know whether it's this that's the problem or this that's the problem. So if I get this done first, and then I verify the car still starts and runs, then I know that that's good. I know that those parts are good, and I'm good to go. So if I put all 3 of these on and that problem happens, then I don't know whether it's this or that. So let me hook the battery up real quick, and we'll try to start the car. That'll just take a minute. All right, hold on a second. All right, where's the key? Oh, did something with my key. Got to find it. Well, oh, there it is. Turn to the shifter. So I got to put this back in park for to start. Put the key in the ignition. All right, let me go hook the battery up and we'll see what happens. Okay, real quick, I got it in park, put my foot on the brake, got lights. All right, it starts and runs, okay? So I know that the parts that I put in here are good. Okay, we're gonna put it back in neutral while we got the battery hooked up, and we're gonna shut it off. We got the emergency brake on, don't forget to do that. All right, and then I gotta reach up in here and push this little button to get the key to come out. There we go. All right, now I'm gonna disconnect the battery. So now I know that all this is good. That's why I did what I just did. So that's some good advice that I can give you guys. That's some good advice I can give you guys is if you're working on a vehicle like this and you're doing multiple things like I'm doing today, you always want to check your work after each step before you progress to the next step, because you don't want to, if you do everything you got to do and then there's a problem, the car won't start or whatever you're working on won't work, whatever, then you got to figure out, okay, I did 5 things, which one of those 5 things is wrong? Well, I've only done 2 things. I've replaced those 2 switches, but they were both on the ignition lock assembly, the ignition lock cylinder. I replaced the ignition lock cylinder release solenoid and the ignition switch assembly. So they were both there. So after I got done with them, I verified the car would start and run. I know it does. I know it goes out of park and everything works just the way it's supposed to. So now we'll replace the neutral safety switch, and then we'll check it again when we're done with that, okay? All right, let's get this thing apart. I don't know how difficult this is gonna be. I know this video is kind of long. Maybe I should break it up in 2 parts. I don't know, because it's been like an hour and a half now, but we'll see. But I think taking these 4 screws out hopefully will allow me to maneuver this shifter out of the way enough that I can get the neutral safety switch off of it and replace it. I hope I can. I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully it's that easy, but you know, you saw how hard the dash was to do. I had to take way more of the dash apart than I thought I was going to have to get it. I don't have that dash together all the way either. I got to get it back together the rest of the way, but it's okay. I'll get it. Not worried about that right now. All right. Now, one thing I want you guys to know while I'm doing this, and you guys that have worked on cars for a while like I have will understand what I'm saying here, but if you look at these wires on these plugs, these wires are like, they're so tiny, they're freaking dinky. I mean, they aren't even anywhere near the size wires used to be in cars. They're like probably like a 18 or 20 gauge, 22 gauge wires. They're really small. And you know, when I first started working on cars 40 years ago, they had 10 gauge wires, 12 gauge wires, 14 gauge wires, you know, and there was a few, like maybe it went to like a dome light or something. It might have been 18 gauge, but most of the wires on the car were 14, 16 gauge, 12 gauge, 10 gauge, of course, went to the battery and all that. These freaking things here are like 18, 20, 22 gauge. These here are a little heavier, the ones that go to the window, because they got to power the windows. But like these heater control switches, all these computer wires, all this stuff is just paper thin. And another problem this car has is you can barely see it, but right there in the door, there's a wire harness that passes through that door, and there are these little thin, scrawny little wires like that go in that door. And you keep opening and closing the door, eventually those wires will break, and your window will stop working, your speaker will stop working, all your controls, all the controls on your driver's door will stop working. And the reason is because them wires inside that little rubber tube, here, I'll show it to you over here actually. See that tube right there? It runs from the inside of the dash into the door. It's just a rubber tube, and there's wires that pass through it on both doors. So that the wires break inside that from opening and closing, because you're working those wires back and forth every time you open and close the door. And those wires are so weak and wimpy, they break, and then everything stops working. You don't know why. So, but so far this car's low miles. That isn't a problem with this car, so we don't have to worry about that today. Okay, I got the 4 bolts loose. Let's pull the shifter out, see if I can get it to come out far enough to get it turned. There we go. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that's beautiful. Okay, now I'm not sure. I got to figure out how to get this. My gosh. All right, where's my... Now see, that's got 4 screw holes in there on that side, and if this goes like that and those screws are on the inside, I might be in trouble here. I might have a hard time getting this thing apart. I don't know. Wow. I'm gonna pop this off. I don't know what that's gonna do when I pop this off, but I'm gonna pop it off. The thing that's holding me up right now is the shift cable, and I'm not sure how to get that apart. I don't know. But yeah, this is definitely where your neutral safety switch is. But let me pull this off and see if I can see what happens when I pull it off. I don't know if anything will happen at all. It may not. All right, there's that. Oh wow! Ha! Look at that! Holy crap! Okay. All right, I got to push down on this lever. And let me get you guys zoomed in here. So this This is what held that neutral safety switch in. Oh, I don't know what that was. I think a branch must have hit my windshield. Okay, so I got to push that in with a screwdriver. All right, there's my neutral safety switch. And funny, it's got these 4 bolt holes, and I thought, man, if that thing bolts or something, I'm never going to be able to get those out. But that's my old one. I remember that. All right, here's my new one, and this little L-shaped piece goes into that hole right there. So you got to make sure you put it in the right spot. Okay, so we're going to plug it in. There we go. Make sure it's plugged in all the way, and then we got to line this thing up correctly. Alright, trying to get that to go. I'm pushing the switch down while I'm lining that up. Okay. Alright, then we put this back in. It's just got a couple of, oh, look at that. That broke when I pushed on it. That broke. See that? See how that one's, see how they're different now? So that didn't take much to break that. Wow, that's pretty cheap. Alright, well, I got one left, I guess. Yeah, it ain't coming out. So I'm going to stick this in there and try to pop that old one, that broken one, back up in there. Well, anyhow, it ain't going nowhere. Alright, that's locked in. I got that in. That was really easy to replace. So you take the 4 screws out, lift the shifter up, tip it over, pull this white piece out. You got to push down on these clips. I guess I pushed too hard and I kind of cracked this one here, but the other one kind of popped loose on its own. But I shouldn't have pushed as hard as I did. But just push those gently and then slide that up, and that whole thing comes out pretty easy. I'm amazed that was that simple. I'm happy, but I'm amazed. All right, and then we got to put the shifter assembly back where it belongs. There we go. All right. And now I got to put these bolts back, and they're kind of, these nuts. See, there's 4 nuts. That's what they are, just 1/2 inch, 13 millimeter. I got to put these back. It's kind of hard to reach down in there like that screw was in that cubby hole. There we go. All right. So I put them on there, and I just kind of hold them and then stick them down in there while I'm holding on to them. Just so you know what I'm doing here. I'll show you on the front one here in a second. So I just put it in there, and then I just hold it with my finger and drop it down in there on top of the stud that screws onto. All right, there we go. There's that one. Got one more. All right. This one over here, same way. And you guys saw what I was using for tools today. I mean, I didn't have anything fancy. You know, I didn't have big expensive tool kit or anything like that, just regular old hand tools. So you can do this yourself. I called GM. I called the local GM dealership here in town, and I've been working for basically about 3 hours now. They wanted, if I remember right, they wanted, I think, around $300, $350 to put these 3 switches in. So, you know, they're $100 plus an hour. And I did them myself, and, you know, now that I've done it, and I've got it on video here, so I'm putting these bottom screws in. Now that I've done it, tighten them up. And again, these are tightening into metal studs, so they're stronger, and it's a heavier, bigger bolt, so you can tighten them up a little tighter. But again, you don't have to, you know, crank the snot out of them. You don't have to, you know, I put it until it's until it's until it bottoms out, and then I turn it, you know, about a quarter of a turn. So this one here, let's see, I think I screwed it in by hand. Let's see. No. I'm loosening it now. So I turn it until it bottoms out. That's bottomed out right there. Not quite a quarter of a turn, okay? So that's good to go on that, all right? Bottom one, same way. Turn them until they bottom out. Turn them about between an eighth and a quarter of a turn. You'll get the feel of it. All right, that's good there. Now, what I'm going to do, like I just did over there, once again, back my camera out here, I'm going to put the key back in the ignition before I put all this back together, because I don't want to put it back together and then find out there's something wrong. I'm going to put the key back in the ignition. I'm going to put it in park, and I'm going to try to start it. Oh, well, I'm going to hook the battery up too, of course. Let's put the key in the ignition. Let me go hook the battery up. There's the old neutral safety switch. Go hook the battery up, put it back in park, and make sure it starts, okay? And then I can put it in, you know, the other gears and make sure it doesn't start in those gears. All right, let me do that. I'll be back. All right, I got the battery hooked up. I'll put the shift knob on here temporarily so I can move it through the gears. It's in park. All right, it started. Make sure that works the way it's supposed to. Everything works fine. Shift cable works the way it's supposed to. Put it in neutral. Shut it off. Now it should start in neutral, I believe. Yep. Okay, now I can shut it off. That's reverse. It's not starting. That's drive. Not starting. Neutral. Starts. Okay, so we know all that's good. All right. All right. Now I guess we can put it back together. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta disconnect my battery. All right, now we got to hook all these wires back up on the bottom of the console and put the console top back on. Make sure I gotta remove that. Oh no, well, I screwed up. I forgot to put it in neutral before I disconnect the battery, so I got to do that again. Hold on, I'm gonna stop the video. All right, I'm back. I put it back in neutral. Now we got to put all this back together. Okay, so the first thing I need to do is put my traction control switch back in place. And it goes, remember this button, on-off button, goes in that hole right there. See that hole right there? So this button here goes in that hole, so you got to put it the right way. So it goes like that, snap it in. Then I can flip this over. Oh, and I wanted to look and see. These here aren't color coded. So, but I can guarantee the switches, the wire the plugs won't go in, they'll only go in one place. They won't go where they're not supposed to go. So all right, we got those in. And then we got to do our climate control switches. We got 2 of them, and they are color coded. So we got gray and blue. All right. And then up here, we got, I remember this brown one goes, oops, I'm not showing you, am I? Sorry. All right, we got this brown one that goes here, and the white one goes in the middle, black one on this end, and this black one will not fit on that end, so you can't mix those up. And then that black one goes there. And you want to kind of pull on them before you put everything back together and make sure they're snug, make sure they're locked in all the way. Okay, so they're all in there. They're good. See, I broke that little thing there pulling that apart, but I mean, this stuff is, you know, they don't make anything to last anymore. So no, that's not a surprise to me that it did that. Okay, then this pops in the top first, and then the bottom, like that. And if you notice, my dash is not lined up there. I got a clip that's not popped in all the way there, so I got to fix that, but that's not a big deal. All right, I got that in place. All my plugs are plugged in, and they're in place. And then I got to put this cover on, and trying to remember how it goes. It goes with the big end down, I believe. Yes, it does. Okay. And we just pop it in. That was actually, doing that neutral safety switch was super easy compared to the other two. Holy crap. Well, actually the only one that was hard was the ignition switch. The ignition solenoid, the ignition lock solenoid was easy. The ignition switch was really hard. All right, and then we got to remember to put our screw back in there. Snug it up, you don't have to get it tight, then pull that piece of chrome up, put that in place. All right, we're done there. And now the only thing we got left is we got to put the console back together. So let me do that. I got to put this cover on the fuses, but I can do that. So I got to put the console cover on, and then we'll be done. Once I get the console cover on, I'll show you how to get underneath there and unlock that key if you have to. This piece here, this little rubber piece here goes in the console there. Just a little piece to go down in there. Okay, let me get the battery hooked up, and then we'll get the column put together. Actually, you know what? I won't hook the battery up. I'll show you what I did when I'm done. Okay, now I got this dash that's not lined up properly, so I got to fix that. Shouldn't be too difficult to do. There we go. There we go. That was easy. Okay. Sometimes you got that problem. All right, now I got the top of the dash. Well, actually, let's put the bottom in first. Okay, So I can't see you guys, so I don't know what you're looking at, so let me move you. Okay, I'll put you over here so I can see you, and you, well, that's not a good place, is it? Oh, I can see you and you can see what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. All right, now we got this console piece. It's got the notch in it. Remember, this goes in the column piece. Sorry, not console piece. It goes in the lock that locks the steering column up and down. Okay, so it slides in that, and we got the other half of it. This is the other half. I don't know if I can show you this or not, but I'll try to. So you take if you can see this. Oh, well, that didn't work very well. So there's notches here, here, and here, and then there's tabs on this one here. See, there's one there, and one here. So the tabs go in the notches. So it goes. If I can get it in there. Goes like that. See that? So those are all together. You can put this in one piece, or you can put it in two pieces. I'm going to put it in one piece since it's already together. All right, but I got to slide the notch, the steering column lock in this notch. But you can put it in two pieces if it's easier for you, however you want to do it. All right. Slide it in. Get it up over the key. There we go. All right, and then we got 3 screws that hold it in place. I got to find them. Here they are. All right. And now we got to put them back in. They're under here, if you guys remember. When we first started this conglomerated mess here. All right. That doesn't feel right. I don't think I'm lined up. It went in the plastic, but it didn't go in the hole where the bolt is. Gotta get underneath here and look. I think this piece here is about the hardest piece to get on. Huh. Well, let me try this bolt over here. Maybe this bolt here will go in easier. I don't know. Nope. Hard part is you got to get these holes to line up, and you can't see them. You're just kind of guessing where they're at. So it's kind of a pain. start. Well, maybe not. No, I didn't. Wow. This is, ouch, that hurt. This is difficult to get this thing to go in here for some reason. I don't know why it's so hard. This should not be this difficult, but it is for some reason. Trying to get these to line up, and they're not cooperating the way they should. I think, there we go, I got that one. Okay. Just gotta hold your mouth right, like I said before. And once you get one to line up, the rest of them will probably go. Yep, that one went. And there we go. Okay. All right, we got all three of those to go in. And remember, again, they're not, you don't have to crank down on them super hard, just get them snug. That's all you got to do. All right. And then I got to put the top piece in. And I got this piece of rubber here. It goes over there in that little cubby hole. Got to put it back in there. Okay. And I got to snap the top of the steering column on. It just snaps in place, remember? It's just got those clips that hold it in place. That's the first piece we took off. It just locks in like so. There we go. All right. And now getting this crap out of my way off the floor. And now the only piece we have not put back together is this little cover here. Remember what I told you? All right, so, and one more thing I want to do. I found my straw while I got you here. I'm going to put some WD-40. See it come out of there? Put a nice, generous dosage. I could have put some on the shifter, I guess, when I had it apart, but I never thought about it. But I'm just going to squirt 3 or 4 squirts of WD-40 in there, in that ignition lock assembly, so that it gets nice and lubricated. Okay, it's got plenty of lubricant now. All right. Now, I got the battery disconnected, so let me take this thing off the stand real quick. All right. Now I got the battery disconnected, and there's this cover. So I turn the key on, and then I turn it off, and it won't come back far enough to unlock. So this is a problem, okay? So if you have this problem, you go underneath the column and see this little cover goes in there, and it's kind of weird because you got to push on the tab. You got to push the tab in. Got to push the tab in towards the cover itself. Push it in and then pop it out, and because it's got a little lever piece on that side. See that little L-shaped piece that goes up in there? So it goes up in there. I'm not going to put it in because you need to be able to see what I'm doing. So it goes up in there. So anyhow, if your key is locked in that position and you can't get it to release, you just pop that cover off, or if you have a problem on a regular basis, you leave that cover off. And I can literally reach up in there with my finger. Well, let me get my hand away from the camera lens. I can literally reach up in there like that and push that thing. I can feel it. It's right there. I don't know if you can see it. I'll put the camera up there. I don't know if you can see it or not. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. There it is. You can see it. See it right there? I'm going to put my hand up there and get some light reflecting. See it? There it is. That little white button. Just reach up in there and push that button. And that releases the key. I can't do it with my left hand. I can do it with my right hand now. Reach up in there and push that button. And it releases the key, okay? All right, now let's come out here. I remember I told you guys the BCM, the body control modules underneath that console. Now, I don't know why anybody ever thought this was a good idea, but GM apparently did think it was a good idea. Oh, hold on a second. Let me grab a ratchet, because I need to put my battery back together. I'm looking for my 10mm socket somewhere in here, I think. Hold on. There it is. Okay. All right. Okay. So GM thought it would be a good idea to put the PCM, the power control module, or powertrain control module, sorry. They thought it'd be a good idea to, there's the battery, this is the cover that goes over the battery, and this is your powertrain control module. It actually sits on top of the battery here. They thought it'd be a good idea to do that. Number one, it's exposed to the weather. All these connections are exposed to any moisture that gets in them. And number two, batteries, when the car's running and it's charging, these batteries, they emit fumes, and the fumes are actually corrosive. So you got a $800 computer sitting on top of a battery that's emitting corrosive fumes, which I think is a totally bad idea. But I don't know what you can do about it here. I mean, I guess you could try to relocate it, you know, figure out some way to put it, somewhere to put it, but there's no room in here. So, you know, they want to make these engine compartments as tiny as they can. But anyhow, we're gonna hook the battery back up. So you want to kind of touch it and make sure you don't get any heavy sparks. You shouldn't. I got a little bit of spark because the door's open, the light's on. And somebody put baking soda. Oh, look, my wiper's kicked on. I must have bumped the switch. Hold on. There we go. And of course, my battery, my dinger's going off inside because my key's in the ignition. So somebody put baking soda on these battery terminals. Now I want to show you this. So see this battery, this terminal here. This is the positive side. Now if I was using a longer wrench, like an end wrench, and I accidentally touch here and touch there, I would burn a hole through that aluminum pipe in like half a second, and that's full of Freon, and I would destroy my air conditioning system. Well, I'll lose all the Freon out of it, and I'd have to buy a new pipe. Or if I touched it from here to the body over here, I could cause an arc, and I could damage my $800 computer. So you always want to take, anytime you're messing with a battery, you always want to remember, take the negative terminal off first, and put the negative terminal on last. So when you're taking it off, you take negative first, then the positive. When you're putting it back on, you put the positive on first and then the negative. So you always want to put the negative on last. That way, if I touch from here to any body part, I'm not going to short anything out because it's the negative side, okay? So I'm going to tighten this up. I said, somebody put baking soda all over this thing, and that's why it looks like it does. But okay, that's another trick. You guys don't know it. If you got corrosion on your battery terminals, you can take baking soda and water. Just put like 2 tablespoons of baking soda in a cup of water and pour it on top of your battery, and it dissolves all the acid, neutralizes all the acid on top of your battery. So I'm going to tighten that terminal up. Again, it doesn't have to be super tight. That's just a 1/4-inch drive ratchet. Then we're going to put the battery cover back on. It goes on there somehow or another. I'm not sure how it fits, but I got to figure that out. Oh, okay, I see. These notches here go down inside some notches in the cover. That's how it fits. There we go. And then this thing here, which is in the worst place you could possibly put it, it's got these little plastic tabs sticking up, and then it's got notches. See them notches right here? These notches go into those tabs. And when I took it off, I just popped it with my fist this way, just popped it, and it slid back, and then I picked it up off of there. There we go. All right, that's all back together now. Okay. Now, all right, let me get back in the car here, of course. Oh, shut that off so we don't hear that annoying sound. All right, let me put this back on my little stand here. Okay, and we'll move that up. There I am. All right, so I got that little cover off, and I'm sitting in the driver's seat. And if you reach up in there, I'm trying to find the thing now. I felt it really easily before. Oh, there, no. Where is it at? Trying to find that little button to release the key. I'm just trying to see how easy it is while you're sitting in the driver's seat. Dadgummit, stinking wipers. There we go. They're still going. Well. Oh, that's why. The reason I couldn't find it was because the solenoid had pushed the plunger in because I had the key in the ignition, dummy. Okay, now reach up in there. Yeah, I can take my finger, and it's kind of hard, but you reach up in there, and you can. Yeah, I can reach it. Let me see. Oh, I can do it with my thumb really easy. So if you get in a situation where you can't get the key out of the ignition, use your thumb. Just stick your thumb up in the hole, and you can feel that thing really easily. Now, will the car start? Let's see. All right, it started up. Okay, make sure my windows roll up and down. Hopefully they do. Yep, you can see that one's rolling up. Back one back there's rolling up. That one's rolling up. That one's rolling up. All my air conditioning system's working because I'm running my air conditioner right now. Alright, and my emergency flashers work. Rear wiper works. Rear washer doesn't work, probably because it's empty. I don't know if my fog light's working or not. I don't know what these other switches are over there. Okay, so this has been what, a little over 2 hours. So it gives you an idea of what it takes to do this. It's not easy. You got to take a lot of stuff apart. Now here's the thing. Here's the kicker to this whole video. Okay, I don't know if what I did fixed the problem or not, because it's an intermittent problem, and I don't have any way to get it to force it to do what it did to duplicate the problem. So I don't know if it fixed it or not. I replaced 3 things, the three easiest, or not easy, they weren't easy. I mean, I could replace that body control module in, you know, probably 30 minutes. I could replace the powertrain control module underneath there on the top of the battery in probably 15 minutes. So they weren't easy to do, but they were low cost. I think I paid, I want to say around between 30 and 50 bucks a piece for each one of those sensors. So I got a little over 100 bucks, 150 bucks of parts in here, and then I've got another, you know, 3 hours of labor. So, and GM wanted, I think for the parts and labor, they wanted about 600 bucks to do this, and then they want another, you know, $1,400 to do the computer stuff. So I'm hoping that these 3 things I just did fix the problem. But here's the kicker. I got to drive the car to see if the problem will duplicate itself before I know. And guess what? If it duplicates itself, I'm going to be stranded somewhere. Well, I mean, if the key won't come out of the ignition, I won't be stranded. But if I turn it and it won't start, then I'm stranded. I'm stuck. And I may have to call AAA to have it towed home. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. So I'm going to take it out and drive it right now, just with you guys with me, just see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's go find out. But yeah. So if I take it out and what I'm going to do, this car isn't licensed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get insurance and license on it tomorrow or next week, and I'm going to start driving it as my daily driver. And I'm going to drive it, and you know, it may take you know, it may drive fine for a week, and then it may all of a sudden screw up. It may drive fine for a month, and then all of a sudden screw up. But I'm going to have to drive it for a long time to figure out whether or not what I did fixed the problem. I shouldn't say that, because I don't know when it's going to happen. I may drive it one time, and I may bring it back from this trip with you guys right now, and it may happen. I don't know. But I'm going to have to drive it enough that I'm satisfied that I can drive it and not have to worry about it leaving me stranded. That's the thing. And she was like she's like 74 years old, 75 years old. She doesn't need to be stranded, especially in the last week it was 100 degrees in the shade in here. This week is beautiful. But last week it was 100 degrees in the shade here. She don't need to be stranded in a car like this. So she got a different car. She sold me this one, you know, and you saw what I did today to fix it. So I don't know if I fixed it or not, but the only way I'm going to find out is to drive it and drive it and drive it and see if it leaves me stranded, which I can survive being stranded. And I got AAA. If I have to call them, I'll call them. You know. So let's take it out for a test drive. The other thing, one more thing you got to remember is I had the battery disconnected the whole time I was doing this. And I don't know about the newer cars, because I don't work on them that much, but the older cars, if you disconnect the battery, the computer forgets everything, and it loses its mind. Kind of like me in my old age, you know. Anyhow, the computer loses its mind, it forgets its memory, so it has to relearn everything. It has to, you know, look at all the parameters, look at all the sensors, and figure out what's going on and relearn how to drive the car, okay? So when you first do this, if that's the case, which like I said, on newer cars, they may have a battery inside the computer that lasts for, you know, a week if the battery goes dead. I don't know. I know the older cars had a battery in them, a little battery that would retain the memory, but it would go dead after like 30 minutes. So the newer cars, they may have a better battery, they may have a better backup system in them where they retain their memory longer. I don't know. Or maybe they retain their memory in something that doesn't have to have a battery to be remembered. I don't know. I'm not that good on new cars. I work on the old stuff. I don't work on this new stuff that much. I do when I have to, but I don't know. I gotta get a drink. Okay. Anyhow, the one thing you want to remember is if you do this work, you take the car out and drive it, it may not run the way it's supposed to. It may sputter and chug and, you know, act funny until it relearns everything how to drive. So don't be surprised if that happens. All right, enough of me talking. Let's get you guys up here this thing to lock down. It don't want to lock. Hey, look at me anymore. All right. This ain't a great view, but it's a view. All right, let's take this beast out and drive it. See what it does, because I don't know if it's going to work or not. But I guess if I get stranded, you get stranded with me. It's always a good idea, you know, and when you're, I got to put my seatbelt on. Safety third, right? Okay, there we go. It's always a good idea anytime you work on a car to take it out and drive it when you're done, you know. And what I always try to do is I always drive, you know, close to my house, maybe a block or so, and I'll go in a circle and I'll drive the car, and then if it runs okay, then I'll go a little further, and then if it runs okay, I'll go a little further. But now this car doesn't have license plates on it, so I'm not going to take it out on the main road and drive it because I don't want to get in trouble with the cops. But you can see the beautiful area of BFM, where I live. I kind of like it here. It is really pretty. And I'm like less than 5 miles, probably 3, well, maybe 2 miles from one of the biggest forests in America, the Mark Twain National Forest. So, you know, I love that. Okay, so now I'm driving around the block, and so far everything's working fine. All my controls are working properly. I don't have any check engine lights on my dash, so I didn't forget to plug something in or do something that I should have done. Everything's looking okay so far. Alright, so I just went around the block, and we're going back by my house. Alright. So now I'm going to go ahead and drive down the road and back. Let's do this. Let's do this. Put you guys on my sunroof. There we go. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to stop talking so I can speed this part of the video up. We're just going to go for a little drive and see how it works out, okay? Alright, here we go. Sorry, I'm trying to get my phone to stop moving around here. We're driving into the sun. Oh yeah, I wasn't going to talk, was I? Okay, guys. Well, we went for a little drive. It ran fine. No problems. I'll show you my dash here. Head around. All right. Let's see here. So you can see I got no, well, you should be able to see anyhow, but you can't yet. I got no lights on my dash. Everything's off, so I don't got any check engine lights on or any warning lights at all. So everything looks good. Now we got to do two things. First of all, we got to see if we can get the key out of the ignition, and then we got to see if the car will start back up when we put the key back in the ignition and try to start it. So let's do the first thing first. Got it in park. Key came out of the ignition. That's good. Now will it start? Yes, it did. Started. Key came out of the ignition. Started up. Okay. Now I don't know. Again, I don't know if that fixed the problem or not 100% for sure, because it's an intermittent thing. It doesn't happen every single time. So it's not like that was the problem, it wouldn't do anything, and I fixed the parts and now it does. The problem was it only did it once in a while, and I replaced the parts, and now I got to keep doing it over and over and over again to try to force it to do what it did before and leave me stranded because it won't start, or the key. Well, I mean, if I can't get the key ignition, I know how to do that now. Just to stick your thumb up the hole and, you know, but she didn't know that. She was 74 years old. She didn't understand that stuff. So I'm not worried about the key being left in the ignition. I'm worried about it not starting when I turn it to the start position. That's what I'm worried about. So I don't know. I'm thinking probably the neutral safety switch was the problem, but I don't know that for sure. The only way I'm going to know is to drive it. So that's the end of this video. I know it's been long. I'm sorry it's been so long, but like I said, I couldn't find anything on the internet on this. So I'm going to put this out there, and if it helps one person, great. You know, if you got this problem, and there may be other GM models that have the same problem, I don't know. But if you can't get the key out of the ignition, or you turn the key to the start position and it won't start, then this solution may be something you can use. So hope this helps somebody. I'm going to end it right here because it's getting really long. It's been over 2 hours. I'm probably going to end up breaking this video up, to tell you the truth. Probably going to break it up and put it in 2 halves. So we'll do the column in one video and the console in the other video. So I appreciate you guys watching. If this helps somebody, great. I hope it does. All right, guys, it's been a long afternoon for me. I still got one more car to work on. I can't quit yet, but I'm done with this one anyhow. And it turned out good. I think I'm happy with it. So, all right, guys, I appreciate you watching. I know things are kind of slow. I've been working on my house. You saw what happened with my house. So I got more stuff coming. Just give me some time. All right, talk to you guys later. Bye.